What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 74 of my Total Warhammer 3 Ikit Claw Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Metable decided to start destroying the dwarven stacks that have moved out through Sylvania, succeeding in ambushing 2 in a row belonging to Zufbar and destroying them with pretty much no casualties whatsoever, only slight amounts of damage to the heroes and lord. Looks pretty good to me. Now in terms of what we still have to do this turn is, well, Metable is going to continue attacking, but maybe we'll do a little bit of admin slash moving elsewhere before we do so. First of all, Obside is going to defend Carrick Drawn, which means Morphific and Plague-Rolk should be able to roll on by and hit Mount Squighorn together. Away you go. And we'll auto-resolve this in a second, but I want to send the Assassin forward because I want to see whether there's another full stack nearby or not. And while the Assassin might not be able to see crazy far, he should be able to spot one. And if the Assassin can't see it, even if there is one, most likely it's so far that it wouldn't be able to attack these guys. Anyway, now Plague-Rolk, you're gonna roll on in as well. You're probably going to take damage again. Let's move here for a second, then we'll put you into encamp stance. I always do this thinking that the bonus leadership and melee defense helps out in the auto-resolve, but I've never been sure whether it actually does or it doesn't. I'm still gonna keep doing it though. Let's see, auto-resolve and auto-resolve. So Plague-Rolk, out of curiosity, 4,300 HP, and you're full. So, Morphific lost none, and Plague-Rolk lost lots, basically. I don't understand. I swear, this lord is broken. His auto-resolve is broken. It shouldn't be doing this. Any damage that comes in on Plague-Rolk should be hitting Morphific first because they're both on Doom Wheels. And Morphific's at a lower level than Plague-Rolk is. Why? Why, game? Maybe if we swap some of his items around, it would give him a little bit more defenses? Maybe? I don't get it. Maybe he has something that gives him increased speed, so the game is thinking he's faster than Morphific? I just plain don't understand. And we're gonna loot and occupy to tier 1 though. I was thinking maybe tier 3, but honestly it's not needed. Just like the Pillars of Grogny, it's really not needed. Silver Road is now ours, and we're going to, ooh, while we're at it, let's build you up. But we're going to set up expansionist planning for now until we get tier 5, unoccupied Karazakarak. Now, you guys, how far can you move? You can actually move fairly far in regular stance to the high place. But is it so close that another army might hit you? World's Edge Archway is right there, and if an army is there, it might be able to attack. I actually probably should have had Plague-Rolk hit Mount Squighorn, and Morphific maybe move out, but oh well, not a big deal. Let's move you out right there, so that you're close enough to the high place, and we'll have you take it. I don't think this guy can hit you, right? Even then, I think the army would survive. The only reason I'm worried about that is because these guys, these 4 armies need to join together with Mutin so that they're 3 armies instead of 4. And that's obviously not happening right now, but oh well, we'll deal with it. Now, who can still move? Cyprus, we do not need to move you until we move Metable, who we will also move shortly. Mutin, the greatest mutant of them all, the original. You're gonna keep marching forward and towards Zufbar and Oakenhammer and whatnot. Throt has moved, Garth has moved, Queek is good, Plague-Rolk, Obside, Mutant, Scalpite, Bok. Yes, I forgot about Bok. I was gonna have Metable fight a bunch this episode, but perhaps it's time for Bok to do some work. Now, what can you do? You can block armies, eh? 36% and 35%. Now, which of these armies would we have an easier time fighting? You have a giant, but we have 3 rattling guns, so that shouldn't be all that problematic. You have a lot less boar boys, so I think you're the better option here. This is going to be very dangerous, but we might have to back off afterwards. But I still think it's probably worth doing. What's the ambush chance on you? 55. Oh, it's quite low. It's quite low indeed, and that's despite the fact that we have Ancient Cunning. Well, here's hoping. What we could do is try it, and then if it fails, back off. Because it would be really nice to get an ambush here. Let's try it. And No dice on the ambush, let's retreat. We'll try it a couple more times. If it fails repeatedly, we'll go for lightning strike. Better than nothing. But I still think we should ambush. Really would be nice to be able to hold these guys off without losing all of this territory. I would really prefer that, for obvious reasons. Anyway, who else needs to move? Ickstone, you are the chieftain that's back here, and that's not going to change for now. Bok the Harmless. You... let's probably assassinate somebody. You can first steal tech at Nagenhof. You can assassinate, I guess, this guy. Very nice job to Lab Rats, and a very nice job to Bok the Harmless. Get not so harmless, after all. It's up your assassination capabilities as well. Now, you have ambush success chance. I guess we should probably move you down so that you're supporting Metabol to increase the likelihood of his ability to ambush people, even though he seems to be succeeding at it basically a full 100% of the time. But nonetheless, somebody might have ambush resistance, and we don't want him to fail his ambushes. Engine Bolt, you're still staying here. Sorry, Engine Bolt. You're still recruiting, that's fine. Lab Rat. Not Lab Rats, but Lab Rat. The single Lab Rat. You need a point. Let's get it into Block Army. And Wound, I suppose. And then we can send you to Krakadrak. The Steel Tech. Mostly because we've already stolen from Sjoktraken. Like so. What are we at in terms of Undercity expansion? Where are we? 5 turns still, yeah. So if we want to go up here and screw our allies over, we very well could. Although the Howling Citadel isn't really generating a lot of cash. The Riding Fortress certainly is. So that would make it worth our time. We should also probably take another look at Undercities shortly. Unfortunately, they're not growing very well lately. I'm a little bit disappointed in that, because I really wanted all of Norska to be undercitied and then providing us food, but it's just not going up there. I guess at this point we only have one way to get up there, which is through the Bay of Blades, and, well, I guess it'd go around like this, but it would have to spread to Fort Straghoff first and then up to the lair of the Troll King. We'll see. Honestly, the Undercities aren't doing too much for us in this particular campaign, but it is what it is. We'll deal with it. Rothkar Spire, rather. Let's steal tech from here. Well done to Ratmech. I'm always scared that he'll die because he's really far and we're not going to travel up here again. Ooh, I just had an idea. We should try to move him down to the ancient city of Quintex. It's probably generating a decent amount of cash and is probably worth an Undercity. After we annoy the Ancestral Throng there for a little bit. It'll make Malekith a little bit friendlier, and he is giving us a lot of trade money, especially since the cancellation of trade from the Cathaeans. That was a really nice amount of trade we were doing with them, too. Oh well. Ronan and Scalpite, you guys need to join Queek, who can no longer move, and I do believe it is finally time. So, Skaven Slave Spears are out. And Warlock Engineer. I'm still really tempted to keep the Warlock Engineer here. But then what? We'd have so few units left. That would be too many heroes, wouldn't it? 4, 5, 6 heroes. The thing is that the Warlock Engineer gives us a few things that are really useful. Namely, Howling Warp Gale against Dwarfen flying units, and Queek has no other answer to flying units, really. Oh, and he doesn't have any Jezzails either, which he'd probably want. I guess it really depends on how many ranged units we keep, because if we keep enough, it'll be worth the Warlock Engineer just to provide ballistics calibration. I guess we could get rid of one of the clan rats, or we could have you leave temporarily and come back. You know what, let's delete one of the clan rats. We were going to replace these with Cornate Knights anyway, so I think it's not a big deal. We could also delete one of the Plague Claw catapults, but frankly they're quite useful right now. To here you go, and to here you go as well. Finally. And we're replacing clan rats with plague priests which summon clan rats, so I really think that that's fine. That's why they're here. Queek is supposed to have a clan rat full army. This is why we need 2 plague priests to repeatedly use Vermintide for him. Even if they are unbuffed clan rats. Who's up next? Engine bolt, typhus rat, mechana gear. Every single time I look at you and every single time I forget. Well, let's keep you out there. And I believe that's it. Alrighty, Bok Bok the Lethal, it's your time to shine yet again. Ooh, wait. Huh. I think this, wait, the seed probably only resets after a battle attempt, right? Like, let's try this? Yeah, so, or maybe not, I don't know. Let's retreat you, and I guess we'll have Medable fight, and then you try again. It really would be nice for you to succeed in an ambush. Now, Medable, that's on Medable, that's Cypress, so let's give you your points, and then let's attack. You got 1 point to spend, and we are gonna put it in Rally. And then you, near to Immortality, just one more level for you, Mr. Assassin. You can have Precise, I guess. And just to do more damage, 102 melee attack on this Assassin, damn. And only 64 on Medable himself. Pretty big difference, eh? 102, I guess it's because of the Warpforged Blade. And that's also gets combined with Skaven Brew, so more melee attack. These guys don't have a lot of trouble assassinating the enemy Dwarf Lords. I do like it, though. Alright, and of course this ambush does succeed, but it is Medable, and he's quite good at it. And oh look, our useless allies are gonna help out for this time. Not that I think we're gonna need it, especially as this army, unlike the previous ones, is pretty badly beat up. Here we go. Alright, here we go, time for Medable to get to work once again, though on a different map this time than the other 2 times in the previous episode. We also have to keep in mind that while this army is quite damaged, probably due to attrition or to fighting other armies, they do have 3 full sets of Giant Slayers and 1 full set of regular Slayers. So all 4 of these units will not rout and will come after us until they're dead to a dwarf, so we can expect to take some damage at least from them. Anyway, as usual, and as every single time we ambush, our Jezzails are going to be taking care of the enemy artillery. Well, it's one of the great things about picking the Jezzails over your own artillery is they're quite a bit faster at destroying enemy artillery pieces than your own artillery would be. If they had the ability to attack walls, you wouldn't even need artillery at all. You can just use sniper spam. But you could always bring 1 artillery piece and just keep spamming these guys. Man, dwarves are talkative today. Alrighty, and there we go, nearly down to 1 now, and in fact, several of our Jezzail units have now switched to different targets, specifically this unit of Iron Breakers, as it is their only unit, and it's still liable to be using those satchel charges. As usual, we've set up our Death Runners behind the enemy army, and they're obviously going to hit the enemy piles of ranged units as soon as they move in, which should be shortly. They will, there we go. They're moving now, they've activated their smoke bombs, or whatever the ability is called, and will draw fairly close before the enemies can spot them. The enemy Thunderers are approaching to start attacking our Nitra or Gutter Runners here, and possibly trying to go after our Jezzails, but we are going to summon a use of the Menace Below, and this was one of the better uses of Menace Below, in my opinion, as it managed to distract 3 full units of Thunderers. And of course, the Thunderers aren't great in melee, they're only decent, and so they will take quite some time to deal with that. This will hopefully allow these 2 units of Death Runners to close and simply kill them all, and our Gutter Runners, I'm sure, will be helping out with those shurikens, though they're trying to take out this last miner so that he doesn't throw his 1 satchel charge. Ooh, that was a miss. Alright, here comes 2 more. Let's watch this miner in particular. Okay, that one hit him in the head, but he doesn't seem to care about it. Alright, come on. Try again. Why am I watching out there? Okay, that should get him. There you go. Ripped apart in a hail of shurikens. Okay, guys, that's enough. I know he survived that shuriken to the head, but now you seem upset about it. Alrighty, well, there we go. The clan rats are still distracting, and the Death Runners are moving in. We're also about to destroy this unit of Iron Breakers, and the enemy Thunderers over on this side are wasting their time on the clones of the Ixis Triads. We do have all those piles of Slayers moving in, however, and another Veil of Shadows will hopefully prevent them from going too far while we snipe those gyrocopters out of the sky and switch to the enemy ranged units. Unfortunately, this does mean leaving the Slayers to last, so thus we are going to have to use our Eshin Triads to actually fight them a little bit, which is obviously dangerous. couple seconds of probably 1 or 2 volleys, and those gyrocopters are out of the picture. Lovely. And here come the Slayers to fight our Triads. This is obviously dangerous. Triads are very, very fragile. They're decent at dealing damage, but their fragility is well known at this point, so they will not survive long at all fighting the giant slayers, such hyper elite units. We're going to try to move some clan rats to block them, and we did use the upgraded armor of darkness, or overcast armor of darkness, on them in order to buff their armor up considerably, which is definitely needed for them to survive even a little bit. But as we can see, about 20 seconds of engagement, they're already down to half HP and dropping quickly. Fortunately, our Death Runners have arrived, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Thunderers are all engaged and getting ripped apart in seconds here. Probably getting hit in the back by Death Runners is not something you want, and the Weeping Blade, of course, reducing the capabilities, the defensive capabilities of those poor Thunderers even further. Otherwise, it looks like the battle should be ours very shortly, minus the fact that we will continue to continue having to deal with all those Slayers, but the rest of the army should be routing any second now. Well done to the Death Runners, and there we go. Those Thunderers are running away, and just those Slayers remain. We did move our Eshin Sorcerer in and popped a Tormentor's Sword right on this pile of Slayers. The purpose was to just stop them in their tracks, and as soon as that Tormentor's Sword ended, that's when we popped the Veil of Shadows. This is allowing our Slingers as well as our Jezzails to snipe them a little bit without killing too many of our own units, as these guys are trapped and they have completely lost their unit cohesion. They're also completely surrounded basically on all sides by Triads or Death Runners, and they're getting hit in the back as best we can. Though I'm sure they will be still able to do some damage to us. Now this is looking pretty good, and it looks like this army will basically be destroyed down to a dwarf. Lovely. There's a nice little duel between these two. That's a little single unit focus here. Nice job, Death Runner. We focused the Death Runner and we focused the Miner. Is there a way to get the camera to follow a single unit? I was, maybe there's a mod for that, if there isn't a way to do it specifically. And I don't mean, you know, like when you have the camera follow a unit with like 120 units, but like a single model within that unit. That's what I want. Anyway, with that, the battle ends. Unfortunately, our heroes didn't, or our lord and heroes didn't do a crazy amount of damage. I believe they did manage to hunt down the enemy lord, but it was long after the battle was over and he escaped. They did damage him though while, hey, snipers, relax. And they did damage him while he was still on the field, but they didn't quite kill him early enough, unfortunately. And the reason for that was he was running around in that pile of Slayers, and thus a little bit too protected for these guys to kill him, as they're fairly fragile, even if they do crazy amounts of damage. Anyway, with that, the battle ends. We're just going to speed this up. We don't actually have to chase down or kill anything, so we'll let those units go. And a decisive victory for Medable. Obviously, our Eshin Triads took some damage fighting those giant Slayers. Let's see if we can recover to full after this, and can go again. Alrighty, not too bad. We certainly took a little bit of damage this time around to our Triads, but that's not surprising when facing off against giant Slayers. Probably could have backed off a little bit more, but it was fun to fight them a little bit, and we do heal to full anyway, so it doesn't make much of a difference. And there we go. Well done to Medable yet again. And then there was one, or at least there was one army left here. And another rival Hide Talisman, though that probably won't stay on Cyprus once we delete him / swap him out. Yeah, so Medable will have to take out Groth, and then I suppose move north towards these armies, or these armies. How close is Ikit and the Mutant? Well, the Mutant's, what, 3 turns away maybe, whereas Ikit's probably like 5. Yeah, the turns should start going a little bit faster once we take out some of these armies and can advance forward a little bit more, but I guess we'll take some time towards that. Now, let's do a little bit of building, and then we'll have Bok Bok the Lethal try again. Gisero, Gap, and okay, these are just the fortresses, we don't really care about them. Lorelorn, however, we can build some walls, and I'm sorry, how much did that take? Oh, 2.8k. I thought it said 8.8k, and I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. Keep upgrading you, I guess. I know it's a red territory, but whatever. It'll generate some food for us, especially once it's tier 4, and then we will build a generator there. Barrows, you can have a breeding pit as well. We'll need the growth. Kurun, yes, definitely upgrade you. There's a fairly decent likelihood somebody will eventually sail down here. For example, the High Elves. We can build. I guess we'll build the generator immediately together with the Taskmaster's platform. Nice. Forest of Arden, Castle Artois. We have wood and we will build wood. You heard me. Hochland. Krugenwald. Yes, an upgrade for you. Southern Oblast. We still have several territories that need upgrading now. Fort Chukova. You're probably the most likely to get attacked here by Draika's forces. Matevo's a little bit further away, so let's go with Fort Chukova first, Matevo second. Build the walls, though, and the growth. I wasn't originally planning on holding this territory, but if it works, it works. Plus, it'll probably generate, what, maybe 2,000 gold by the time we build everything up? It doesn't really have a good main territory, but it still works. Alright, what's up next? Gormadny Mountains. Presuming that we can actually hold on to you, but we're gonna build these buildings, or upgrade those buildings just in case we can. Wolfenburg, definitely gotta get that gold mine up and running and get those walls up as well. Sturland. Upgrade for Wurtbad to the next tier. Lovely. We need to take Needling back so we have the entire province again. We could send Cyprus up there. Well, you know what? If we send Medieval up this way, and then that's what we'll do. Yeah. Alright. Who's up next? Eastern Oblast. Didn't we just do... Oh, no. We did something very near to it. We did, no, not Kislev. We did Southern Oblast. I guess I just read the word Oblast, and I assumed that it was the same territory. Novkazi, you're gonna need those walls. We're down to 12k money now. I don't think we need to recruit anything this turn, so it's not a big deal either way. Castle Baston. We can upgrade you to tier 5 if we wanted to. But do we want to? It's quite a lot of an investment, and I think there are better options right now, like you, Bereg de Wazbeg. Although we could also just upgrade Bereg Var to tier 4 in 4 turns. I feel like I was waiting the other time, but it is also kind of in dangerous territory, whereas Bereg Var is able to defend itself. Yeah, screw it, it's okay. We'll upgrade this. The growth is pretty damn great anyway, so I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. Walls for you. What's next? Have we... Where... I hate how it resets this thing, and then I forget where I was, and it's annoying. Alrighty, you are looking good to me. Next up, we've got the Black Tower of Arcan, which we can level up, and this place generates quite a bit of money, so... yeah, fine. Regardless of the insane cost. And that's about it. Alrighty, with the money spent, let's see about Mr. Bok Bok. Try again. And nope, another ambush did not work. Alright. Try one more time and then we strike. I guess. Alright. We could try the other guy. Wait, we can't just try because the seed hasn't been reset. We need to do something. Try to block this, so we don't... we don't have the money to block an army, alright. Let's see. Anybody willing to do anything? Slaughterhorn Tribe, you're... Nah, you're gonna die, there's no point. There's no point. Khemri, Heralds of the Tempest, you are still fighting any of our allies? No. How do you feel about Archaon now? You're fighting more of the same units. You know what? Fine, let's do this. Let's go military access with Kolek for money. And there we go. Hopefully this doesn't piss off too many factions. Decadent Host is... oh wow, look at Chaos. Shadow Legion, Fecundites, Ecstatic Legions, Decadent Host, and Heralds of the Tempest, all weak. Extremely weak. I don't like that. We may have chosen the wrong allies. At least Throggy is still doing pretty okay. Minus the fact that he refuses to take Sarl encampment for some reason, which is so bizarre. It's right in the middle of his territory, and it's basically a free territory. I don't know, Throg. I don't know what you're doing, man. Alright, let's try one more time. If that fails, we'll attack. Yeah, no dice. I guess Bok does not have a hero that gives him cunning, and therefore just doesn't have the good enough likelihood to actually get an ambush going, which means a lightning strike time. Close victory, apparently. We gotta be careful about getting too badly hurt, so if it looks like we're gonna get overwhelmed, we're going to back off rather than continue fighting, because we have 3 to 4 more stacks nearby that we have to take out. But in the meantime, here we go, cinematically. Alrighty, here we go. This is going to be a fairly important battle for this particular region of the map. We are definitely in danger here. Bok's army is relatively low veterancy, untested, and has really no melee line to speak of. While that may work for some armies, mainly Ikit and to some degree Charge Lock, if we consider Charge Lock to be a no melee line, despite the fact that he has Warp Fire Throwers to act as melee. This army is not good enough to do that. Damn, look at how fast he moves. I love the fact that we built this guy to go max speed. Look at 138 speed. It just makes me laugh every time. It's so ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, we have way too many catapults in this particular army, and we don't have much of a melee line to hold the enemy back, so we'll have to be extremely careful. We're bound to lose at least some, or take damage to at least some units. Now, let's see about the setup here. Pretty simply, we got our Jezzails out front firing on the enemy as best they can, trying to take out those black orcs before they can reach our line, as they are pretty threatening, and the catapults are trying to focus them down as well, such that they are relatively slow-moving units. For example, as compared to the Savage Orc Error Boys, which have almost 10 more speed than the heavily armored Black Orcs do. We can always switch to the Error Boys once they stand still and start firing at our own range. On the flanks, the enemies are moving in all of their cav and chariots on both sides, both of which are going to be pretty dangerous, and this is why we've deployed our only 2 units of Clan Rat Spears on those sides. The reason that this army is in its current state, as in doesn't have a proper defensive line, is because we were expecting to get sieged by 3 or 4 enemy stacks and thus have to defend a settlement where we have a massive amount of clan rats to rely upon from the settlement garrison. This army was never meant to be a field battle army in its current state, so we're definitely going to adjust it if we manage to survive here. But anyway, here we go. Let's try to defend our flanks. We can chase down any cab we want, really, with Bok if we desire to do so. But he can also just force them to move away and change to different cab units or countercharge, which is quite useful as well. Speaking of countercharging, we are summoning some clan rats on the field to stop those boar boys or savage orc boar boys in their tracks, and hopefully those chariots, and allow our rattling guns to fire a little bit. Unfortunately, the chariots charge directly through our clan rats, tying up those poor rattling guns and preventing them from doing anything. However, they weren't able to tie up the Poison Wind Globadiers, who are damaging those boar boys pretty heavily, and the chieftain is helping hold the line with one of those units of clan rats. That said, there are way too many melee units to hold back, and it does look like they are about to hit our center line. Not looking so good, at least from that perspective, and we will have to back off our Jezzails and our Poison Wind Globadiers probably all the way to the catapults and see if we can hold a little bit longer. Our catapults are also just about to switch to all the enemy range units, going to focus this one and then switch them out to various other units, while Bok tries to hold back the enemy lord. With the Jezzails busy, unfortunately, they can't help Bok out, and this guy outstatses, that's a word, outstatses Bok quite significantly. 7270 melee attack and defense and 600 weapon strength. Bok really isn't built out to fight yet, just built for speed, and thus he can expect to lose this Night Goblin Warboss. Actually, these stats are pretty damn insane for a Night Goblin, or Gobbo in general. Yeah, well, hopefully Bok can hold him back. We do have to remember that he does have regeneration and a healing potion, which we're going to have to pop fairly quickly so that he doesn't get himself killed. And here we go. If he can distract the enemy lord, that's great, but he can't distract all those other units moving in. Here comes a Scorch moving in through the enemy line, clipping our own units a little bit, but hopefully doing more damage to them. And then to us, and besides, a little bit of damage to our own clan rats doesn't matter all that much. Unfortunately, these Goblin Wolf Chariots have done a pretty great job at holding our Rattling guns, at least these Rattling guns, back. And while these guys are damaged and are getting fired on by the Warplock Jezzails, they have prevented these guys from firing completely. Our summoned clan rats are also gone, and these Poison Wind Globadiers are trying to chase those Savage Orc Boar Boys. We gotta try to get them to shatter so they're off the map. This flank, however, is doing a lot better. The enemy Black Orcs are pretty much done for and about to be even deader, or both the second unit's about to be dead. But unfortunately, a really nice hit from the enemy Night Goblin Fanatics in combination with friendly fire from our own Poison Wind Globadiers badly clips our Warplock Jezzails and damage them extremely heavily. It looks like this one unit will either be destroyed or will be forced off the map. Though at least the Black Orcs will be dead and will not be able to follow us towards our Plague Claw catapults. Jezzails are now getting overrun by Spider Riders, who are moving through our main line, and they're doing a really good job tying up multiple units at once. Definitely props to the AI for that, as a player would try to do the exact same thing. Bok's still fighting the enemy lord, but has now reached his healing cap and popped his healing potion, while the enemy lord is more or less fine. I guess the 70 melee defense is more than enough, despite this guy's relatively low HP. To prevent Bok from doing too much damage, we may want to adjust his items a little bit. The 147 speed when he's using that Foe Seeker is pretty damn good, and he can get away from any lord, and really, that's what a Skaven wants probably at the end of the day, or at least many Skaven, and just to be able to get away should they desire to do so. The ultimate ability to run. Anyway, it looks like the Giant has also made its way through the enemy army. It is fairly slow, so it took a while to get to us, and we haven't been focusing it down with our Rattlings, so it is quite dangerous. The balance of power, however, has shifted to about 80, let's say 85% in our favor, and if we can just stop a few more units, I think the enemy army will rout. Finally, it looks like the enemy Spider Riders have been getting destroyed by our units of Rattling guns and are running away. The enemy lord is routing, and it looks like we just managed to chain rout the enemy before they could hit our Plague Claws. And of course, the Plague Claws have destroyed all those enemy Air Boys. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Air Boys, or 6 units of Air Boys, or Air Boys and Goblin Archers, plus those 2 Black Orcs took heavy damage from them, plus the enemy artillery piece as well. So they haven't been idle this entire time, it's just that the melee clashes have been a little bit more interesting. Anyway, the Giant's going to get a few more wallops in with that big old club of his, but is going to chain rout with the rest of his forces, and it looks like we are victorious. Was it the right decision not to back off after doing damage here? I'm not entirely sure. It'll really depend on how much we can heal after this battle, and how many actual models our units lost. Certainly a lot of them got damaged, but that doesn't mean that they lost a crazy amount of models, and thus won't heal after the battle is over. Anyway, we are obviously going to try to chase down, well, or at least gun down, any unit that we can, in particular the Giant, as it is the most elite unit here, other than the enemy lord. I would have loved for the Rattlings to have gunned down the enemy lord as well, but unfortunately they really needed a little bit better of a melee line. But once again, this army wasn't designed for this, so we'll adjust if we can, if we survive over the next few turns. Of course, Bok will survive because he can run away and he's immortal. But the rest of his army, maybe not. Anyway, it looks like the Giant does finally go down. We are probably going to keep the Rattling guns here for fighting Arachnaroks and Giants, just like that. Looks like we just barely managed to miss killing the Lord. He has a sliver of HP remaining, but of course, if he remains in our territory, he will not be viable anymore. That's a very bloody Lord, though. That was the last volley from our Jezzails in the hopes of bringing him down, but oh well. Still, a very fun battle, even if it was, well, I guess the fact that it was a close battle is what made it fun. Let's see how much we can heal, and let's see if we can hit the orcs again, or whether we have to back off for the inevitable siege. Alrighty, well, we certainly did manage to take out the army, but we also did take a little bit more damage than I would have liked. We do get a decent amount of healing back, so at least our Jezzails will be at 3/4 HP, and our Rattlings will be full. We can heal Bok Bok via healing potion, plus he has regeneration, so he doesn't really care about the damage, which is one of the great things about having the Brood Horrors in general. And we did get a healing potion out of it. It's decent. It's not great, but it's decent. Let's eat those captives. Would be really great if we could get the second army ambushed rather than a regular fight. And, oh, you're gonna back off. Oh, I don't like that. No, but I thought that while he would back off, he would also back off into this army, which he apparently did not. So we should still be able to attack this one next turn. Though I think this time we probably will just damage it and retreat rather than continue fighting like we did this time, unless we get an ambush. Mostly because we need to remain viable enough to defend at Karak Vlag against 1, 2, probably one of these guys will march stance as well. Though I suppose they might avoid sieging. We'll actually see what they do. They could also move towards Karak Doom, in which case we'd have to follow them, but by then we would have healed up, so it's not nearly as concerning. Anyway, with that, we are once more out of time. Next time we will continue trying to hold back the tide of greenskins, or Grimgor's greenskins here, as well as get at least one more battle going with Metabel in order to destroy the last remaining Karak Kadrin dwarfs that are near Schwarzhofen and the Moot. That will probably give us enough, or complete everything we need to do this turn, which will mean we will be able to end the turn and hopefully summon Deathmaster Snitch, or at least have him be available. We got 4 more turns on Skrolk and 5 on Tretch, about to be 3 and 4. We just gotta make sure we have both of their armies ready to go by the time they're up and running, which we probably will. So anyway, stay tuned for more rats, hopefully plenty more I should say, battles to come. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.